It is a really beautiful Friday morning. The birds are all a-twitter, and I thought I would pop out before the neighbors and all the neighborhood dogs get up and show you the state of the garden in the backyard and in the front yard. Would you believe it that a couple of years ago I thought I had killed this mint? I'm trying to get it to grow all the way up the side of my house now. You can see this is the dirt where my dog has dug everything up, but mint is very hardy. I think it is impossible to kill. So this is most of the backyard. You can see I have my raised beds back there where most of my vegetable garden is going to be every single year, like usual. If you've seen previous garden videos from me, you've seen this before, you know what it is. This is my old planter on the side of my patio. These are flowers that self-seeded after I threw out some wild prairie mix last year. This is weed. This is Bermuda grass. We hate it. And this monstrosity is oregano, which I'm letting just take over so that it eventually shades out the grass. It's really nice looking. It gets bigger and bigger every year. But this is a type of oregano that isn't very fragrant. It's not good cooking oregano. Looks great, not much flavor, not much aroma to it. I can't remember if I showed this line of bushes last year. I put it in pretty late in the spring, but these two bushes are Weigela, and they are getting ready to bloom. So I'll have my first Weigela blooms this year. They're already getting bigger than they were last year, which is nice. This, oh, that's weed. This plant is a 9-bark, and it has kind of these purpley leaves. It's so pretty. It looks very old-fashioned and elegant, and it will eventually have, I think, pink or lavender flowers. I saw a bunch of these 9-bark shrubs at a botanical garden last year, and I absolutely wanted one, so I did. It is, I believe, native to the area. And this carpet of yellow-green creepers, this is one of my ground cover experiments from last year. It's called Creeping Jenny, and it turns this beautiful bright yellow color when it's in the sun. So I put in 6 little plants last year, and you can see it has just exploded. I'm planning on filling in this entire area with Creeping Jenny, which is what this is. I just filled in with some dirt to give it something to root in. Should eventually make its way down to the garden beds. This is empty right now, but it will probably have sweet potatoes in it in another week or so. This bed has onion sets in it. You can just see them popping up. I put them in late. I wasn't planning on doing onions. I didn't start my own onions from seed this year, but my parents had some onion sets they bought that they couldn't use, so I took some of them. I may put in some more onions in a bed back there in a little bit. It's late, but I feel like using them up. This is an experimental planned peanut bed. Last year I had a ton of peanut plants in like my garden paths because the squirrels were planting peanuts in my yard. But this year I got some leftover peanut plants from my dad who couldn't use all of them. So I put some in there so I could actually dig these up and see how well they do. I think these are, oh, there we go, there's a little tag there. These are the black peanuts, and there are red ones that I'll show you in a second. My traditional tomato beds with my gigantic 10-foot tall trellises. I love these trellises. That's a dead tomato. But if you look way in there, there's a little volunteer, which will be its replacement. A mole dug under this one and it died. It didn't recover. So yeah, I have 5 right now. That's 1. And then there are 4 more over on the side. These little greens, this is arugula. Threw it out. Pretty sure this volunteer is garlic. It's huge. And then, so I planted clover as ground cover in my paths when I ripped up the landscaping fabric last year, and now I have gigantic clover. But it is walkable. I'll trim it down later. So if you can just look in here, that and that. They're carrots. Oh my god, I got carrots to sprout again. I'm so excited. I need to get in here and weed when it isn't quite so muddy. More tomato plants, and the greens planted on either side of the tomato plants. These are spinach. It came up really patchy this year. I'm not sure why, but I'll be able to come out probably tomorrow and start harvesting that. These 3 boxes are garlic. Pretty sure that the tallest boxes, these 2 over here, these are German porcelain, possibly with the family variety mixed in, but I don't think I planted the family variety last year for some reason. I seem to have lost them, but this bed with the much smaller garlic, this is the family variety. My parents moved in the autumn and they didn't plant garlic in the autumn like they usually did. So I rescued some bulbs of the family variety of garlic and I planted them this spring to see if I could keep the garlic lineage going on, I suppose. They seem to be doing pretty well. I'm not entirely sure if I'll harvest them later than usual. Usually I pull up the garlic around the 4th of July. But these are really tiny. I'm working on doing end caps to fill in this garden path at the end of each of the beds. So on these 2 end caps, I'm doing sedum. This is a creeping sedum that I got at a farmer's market last year. I don't have a tag for it anymore, but it seems to be doing very well. It's got a little baby neighbor now. This is, ooh, it's starting to bloom. I forgot the name of this one as well, but I planted this last year too. It's gotten a lot bigger. And this is one that I just put in last week. It's the Coral Reef Sedum. I love the color on it. Very rusty and red. And it's starting to bloom as well. And these are Sun Sparkler Dazzleberry sedums. They're very purple and dusky. I got these really beautiful pink flowers. So I've got 3 of these here and 3 on the side. Actually, let's go over there. That's creeping phlox. This little tiny bedraggled plant is another oregano, but this is the one with smaller leaves. And it has the flavor and the smell you want for an herb to cook with. On the other side of the driveway, I have an actual compost bin now. Thank you to my dad. He came over and constructed a 3-bin compost system for me, which is really nice. Lots of compost. I need to stir it. This is bunching onions, heshiko onions, I think. I put in this a couple weeks ago, just starting to fill it in and get rid of the grass. I love these red bushes. These are a red variety of barberry. I think they're stunning. That is my sea oats, and hopefully it will spread now that it's actually in a protected bed with mulch. You can see One of my columbine plants is blooming. It got so big this year. It really likes it here. Little Hosta. And those are the rest of the, sparkle, berry, dazzle, whatever, sedums. And I think these are spiderwort plants. I always forget the name. And then there are two tiny little bushes down here, which are garnet sweetspire, I believe. Back on the other side of the driveway now. Got lots and lots of this beautiful dead nettle that's blooming really nicely this year. Some echinacea. Some more creeping phlox. These are the red variety of peanuts. I've just put them in as a border. They do become kind of like mounding plants. They'll help shade out weeds and stuff, and they usually get some pretty yellow flowers on them. So I probably won't dig these up and harvest the peanuts. I'll just use them as ornamentals. This is one of my favorite ground cover experiments. This is creeping thyme. It's not as fragrant and aromatic as regular thyme. You wouldn't cook with it, but it's very dense and lush, very low to the ground. It does very, very well in dry, hot weather. I want to get more of that. Sorry, there are children behind me now. This is my Coreopsis. It will eventually have little yellow flowers on it. The bugleweed. And now for these 3 boxes. This box is mainly weeds as well, but you can see there's 1 and 2 little kale plants and a couple more straggling pea plants. I planted peas in this box and in this box, and it was seed that didn't do very well. It didn't germinate. Down here are a couple of tiny little pepper plants. These are bell peppers right along there. I really need to clear this out. I think I might plant more of those onion sets in this box just to take up the space. And then the mess of the pea plants with no trellises. That is my old compost pile that I'm slowly moving over to the actual compost bins. So yeah, that's the backyard. Not too bad. Not too bad at all. Let's go look at the front garden. This is part of my front garden on one side of my porch. Looks so much better this year than it did last year. This is another tiny little oregano plant with the good flavor and aroma. This little bush back here with the white edging on the leaves, that's a euonymus. It doesn't look so great. I think maybe we had some freezes late in the spring and I think it got a bit frostbitten. It's another echinacea plant. More Korean lilacs. I have my big bush on that side and a little tiny one over here. It's doing a lot better now. This beast is the sage plant I put in last year. When I planted it, it was about the size of my fist. And now it's gigantic. It is also getting ready to bloom. It's shading out my rosemary. I may have to move this because I don't think it's getting enough sunlight. It's just flopping over. Little tiny parsley plant. This is some thyme. It's also doing a lot better this year. Oh, I need to weed. Oh my goodness. It's just a mess back here. Some more Heshiko bunching onions. This tiny little plant, these little feathery plants. They're not doing so well, but I'm trying to grow some fennel. I do like eating fennel bulbs. They're very tasty. It's my Asiatic Lilies. These are new. Guys, I have ferns! Oh my goodness! So I've got like 4 little fern plants, and they seem to like it over here. This is another one. Oh my god, I love them. I love them so much. Look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? Yeah. It's my other columbine. Also doing fantastic. There's some teeny tiny purple basil. I think it's dark opal basil. So tiny. Some chives. It's one of my new plants. It's a butterfly bush, or buddleia. Hoping it likes it here. I've always wanted to have a nice little bush right here in the corner. Let me get back here. This little tiny bit of moss is some Irish moss sagina, or something like that. It's Irish moss. I've wanted some for a while. Might be a little bit too shaded back here, I don't know. We'll see how it does. On the other side of the porch, hostas. So many hostas. That is one of my coral bells. I love this. It's such a beautiful color. It's just exploded here as well. That's my other coral bell, which is a bit more purpley. Little baby hosta. You can see way back there, these little plants. That's the chameleon plant that I put in last year. It disappeared, and then a couple weeks ago it started coming up. It's like it exploded. I think it must have like underground runners or something. And that is the rose bush that will not die. And then along here is my Korean lilac hedge. Slowly getting better. Slowly getting bigger. And my favorite tree. This is a prairie fire crabapple. I love it. It was absolutely covered in these beautiful pink blossoms a couple weeks ago. And that is pretty much it right now. You can see I've got a couple more plants to put in. Got some more creeping Jenny that'll go in the backyard. This is woolly thyme. I couldn't find any more of the creeping thyme that I love, so I decided to get this and plant it somewhere and see what it does. And this is Vinca. I think that's what it's called. Myrtle Vinca, which is another like creeping ground cover. I think it does best in shade. Yeah, that's what it says on the tag. Gotta find a place to put that. We'll see. But yeah, oh my gosh. I'm basically in love with coral bells. They come in such beautiful colors. And these sad little babies. I've got some more basil to put in. Really need to divide this. This is regular Genovese basil, which I grow every year. This is lime basil. Got some hyssop, which is not doing so well. And then I was trying to get some St. John's wort to sprout, and it's done nothing. And then another little volunteer tomato plant, which I'll probably need because I keep losing tomato plants this year. And yeah, another month or two and everything is gonna just be going bonkers. So that is it for the spring garden tour. Hope you guys enjoyed this. I'm definitely loving my plants this year. Hoping that the weeds don't get too terrible.